Hello, 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 hello. Yes, it's Friday. Yay. And we are back. I am Dr. Tamara Beckford with Your Curing Docs. We have a great discussion today. It's very informative. And of course, it's going to make you empowered, right? It's very important because it's something that's going on today. And we need to know about it. And we need to be able to understand the dangers of this particular topic. So, before we go any further, I would love to again introduce myself, Dr. Tamara Beckford with Your Caring Docs. And today we're going to talk about Drake and that Benadryl overdose. Yes, the Benadryl overdose, like what's going on, right? Before we go any further, I would love, love, love for you guys to go over to my YouTube channel. It's www.youtube.yourcaringdocs. That's URCARINGDOCS. Hit that subscribe and notification button, right? So that you can know what's going on and be the first to be informed. Now, let's get started on today's topic. Today is about Jake and that social media challenge. That's right. It is very important because there are a lot of social media challenges that's going on now, right? So let's talk about Jake. So Jake is a 17-year-old male and his friends, they're all over social media. It is the crave. We, all are. And so his friends showed him this latest challenge and it says, hey, Jake, the latest challenge is this Benadryl challenge. And he's like, oh, really? So the whole point of it is for him to take Benadryl online and watch how it causes a change in him. And some of these kids, they have like a little bit of euphoria, which means they get a high and they want to do this on social media and show all their friends, right? So Jake starts taking these pills, multiple doses of Benadryl, and he's filming it. But Jake is very competitive. He's a very competitive person. So he's just going and he's like, I can do more than my friends. So Jake keeps going and going until the point that he's taking 15 doses higher than the recommended dose of Benadryl. He's laughing, acting bizarre. They're all having a great time until boom, suddenly Jake becomes unconscious. Wow. Okay. So everyone now is worried. So let's talk about Benadryl overdose, diphenhydramine. What is Benadryl? So diphenhydramine is the generic form of Benadryl, right? So Benadryl is actually a brand name. When you go to your pharmacy and you're going down the pharmacy aisle, you'll see diphenhydramine. If you turn your medications and some of these over-the-counter medications around and look at the ingredients, when you see diphenhydramine in it, that means that it's Benadryl. So Benadryl overdose actually can cause death. Around 3.2% of all the drug overdose death in the US are from diphenhydramine. And it's in the top 15 drugs that causes overdose within the United States. Now, diphenhydramine or Benadryl comes in a couple different forms. You have tablets, you have IV form, and then you have topical, right? So think about it. Now, unfortunately, most of these overdoses occur in children less than 6 years of age. You're probably wondering why. Well, most medications in the pediatric population, it's usually weight-based, right? So when you're given the kid and you're just like, oh, I can just give them a Benadryl or just give them that. No, that's why it's so dangerous and why you're usually asked to contact your physician when you're giving medication to kids, because kids, they grow. And so a dose that was appropriate at one age is not appropriate at another, and a dose that's appropriate for an adult is not appropriate for kids, right? One thing to also keep in mind, the skin is one of the largest organ. It absorbs medication. So when you're using those topical Benadryl and you're having a rash all over and you're putting Benadryl all over, that's kind of you're given excess amount of medication. So just keep that in mind. So now we're going on. So how does diphenhydramine work? So it binds to cell receptors in different parts of the body, right? We have cell receptors that are in the respiratory tract that allows us to breathe, right? Cell receptors in the blood vessels, In the GI tract, which is the gastrointestinal tract, that's your stomach. I call it from the rooter to the tutor. Once you go in, all the way out, right? That's your gastrointestinal tract. And also in the central nervous system. Now, when someone is taking an overdose or if they have an unintentional amount of diphenhydramine or Benadryl within the system, you can have mild to moderate poisoning and then you have severe. So when you have mild to moderate, say for example, some of these children who or even people who were doing these challenges. So one of the side effects that they will start to notice is that dry mouth, right? Then confusion. They probably had a little bit of euphoria, which is like that high when it's in the mild state. Then the heart rate starts to change, and then you can start having some urinary retention. What is that? Means that it makes it difficult for you to urinate. So the body's holding on to the urine and it's not relaxing the muscles to allow you to urinate. So no matter how much you're trying to squeeze and squeeze, it's just not coming out, right? Then you might have what's called hyperthermia. So your temperature starts to go up. Instead of being at its normal temperature, it starts to rise. So those of you who are in the science or the medical field, you might start to remember that diphenhydramine causes what's called an anticholinergic reaction. So that's what some of these, like mad as a hatter, red as a beet. Yes. So those are the reaction that occurs with the Benadryl. Now, when someone starts to go and have severe poisoning of the diphenhydramine, such as you're taking excess amount, then all of these are accelerated, right? So the mild confusion starts to become severe confusion. And then you can start having seizures, right? You can start having psychosis. It means that you're just gone, confused, completely confused, out of it, seeing things that aren't there, hearing things that aren't there, completely psychotic. Then the blood pressure can drop. Some people, we said, start having hallucination. And then you can even go into a coma. That's how dangerous this is. So it's not something to be taken lightly, right? So when diphenhydramine or Benadryl is also at a severe toxic level within the system, not only can the heart rate start to go up, but you can also have a fatal arrhythmia. What is arrhythmia? Arrhythmia is an irregular beat of the heart, and you can go into a very, very dangerous type of irregular beat of the heart. That's called a torsades de pointe. Those of you who are in the medical field, that's right, the torsades. So once you get into that, then you know that you're at a very dangerous level, and you're pretty close that you can die at this point because the heart electrical activity is going haywire. And this is all because of these excess amounts of Benadryl or diphenhydramine that's within the system. So we're going to go back to Jake and his Benadryl overdose. So what happened? So Jake took all this Benadryl while on social media. His friends are there and they're watching, right? When Jake becomes unresponsive, his friends become, of course, nervous and concerned, right? So they call his family member. Luckily, there was someone home. So they went and saw Jake in the room unresponsive, and they had to call 911 for emergent treatment. So Jake is taken to the emergency room. When he gets there, he starts to seize. So now he starts having a seizure. When you start having a seizure and it's continuous, we have to protect the airway. So he has to get intubated. So a tube is placed in his throat to protect his airways, and he gets placed on a breathing machine, right? Which is a ventilator. After that, he has to be taken to the intensive care unit because he's very sick. He's having seizures, his heart rate's going up, he's having arrhythmias. And so he has to go to the intensive care unit. Now, after a very prolonged stay, we're able to get things under control. Then Jake is finally able to recover. However, it's a very long recovery period for Jake. Now, when you're in the intensive care unit and you're intubated and you're in bed and you're not moving around, you can become deconditioned. So, do you think that Jake came out and he's just as sprightly and just up and as muscular and everything as he went in? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. So, all of this is very, very dangerous. And that's why it's important for you to know that Benadryl overdose is not something to play around with. It can cause not only confusion, but it can cause heart arrhythmia, it can cause seizures, and of course, if you have a very prolonged period, you become deconditioned, you're weaker, and you're not in the same physical state that you were before you went into the hospital, right? Now, if you know or you suspect anyone is taken an excess amount of Benadryl, if you have accidentally given your child an excess amount, do keep in mind that it's important for you to call poison control. This is the National Poison Control Center. The number is 1-800-222-1222. This is the national number here in the United States. 1-800-222-1222. When you call that number, you will be immediately in touch with a poison control specialist who will give you strict instructions, and they will continue following your case. Once you or whomever it is needs to go to the hospital, they will call and follow the case and ensure that there is a safe recovery for you and whomever it is that might have been poisoned, right? So that's our lesson for today. I want to know, what did you think of today's lesson on Benadryl overdose? What did you learn from it? Leave a comment, right? Do you want to learn more about things like this? If so, please like us and leave a like on this info part. Do you know anyone who would benefit from this? Anyone with teenagers, young kids who are very impressionable and they're thinking that this is just for fun? Please share this info with them and share this info with your family. It's very important for you to know. And please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is YouTube/Your Caring Docs. URCARINGDOCS. I am Dr. Tamara Beckford with Your Caring Docs, and I will see you next time. Take care.